Hey, baby. Hey, boo boo. Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3STACK in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And I recently actually collaborated with PAK. I think it's a great thing for content creators to be able to collab. No matter how big or how small you are, you should never have a mindset where you feel you're too good to collab with somebody, or just that not being willing, I guess, or open-minded to collab with somebody. I feel like collaborations should happen a lot more, especially cross collaborations with smaller YouTube channels compared to big ones. Like, for example, what's another underrated YouTuber in my opinion? For example, Yassine. Like, I'm so glad that he's got to collab with the channel like Samurai's, for example, because Samurai is really big and that's good exposure for him. It's not about cloud chasing. It's just about people who deserve more credit than they get, and I feel like PAK is one of those channels where he deserves more credit than he gets. You know, just underrated channels. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about my channel, but basically just like channels like those, even like, some people say mine's underrated. I feel like I'm underrated too, but like just specifically talking about other channels as well, not just my own. A lot of times these opportunities are really, really wholesome. They're good learning experiences, and overall, the community actually tends to enjoy when they see some of their favorite content creators collab together, because they already watch both of them, and just seeing them work together, just that feeling, that enjoyment. And also, there's obviously going to be a lot more information, a lot more, I guess you could say, a lot more insight when two players that are good at the game come together and collab. There's a lot more that you can get out of that experience as far as learning. So what me and PAK did as an idea was we decided to have mirror matches, a SHADDOLL mirror match. We're gonna mirror match with Plunder Patrols. Ironically, me and him, some of our favorite decks are the same. He loves SHADDOLLs, I love SHADDOLLs. He loves Plunders, I love Plunders. We're also gonna play our favorite deck against each other. So we have more collabs to come. And what we did was we basically just did our SHADDOLL one first. So I'm going to show you guys the duel. I'll show you guys the replay. Hit fast forward on it because it was actually an almost 2-hour long duel, you guys. The SHADDOLL mirror match is very, very skillful, requires a lot of patience, and it's not easy to just like go for the kill right away. Man, you guys are going to learn so much from the mirror match, because like I understand that SHADDOLLs are like a slept on deck right now. People think that's not good, but the deck is actually really good. I think it's one of the strongest decks that ever existed, period. Since its inception up until now. And like obviously BA is just like more iconic to people. To other people it's like, it just never dies. People really enjoy it more. But for me, SHADDOLLs are like always going to be a really, really strong deck, a very, very skill. It's like the skill, almost like the skill level is like when you play a deck like Orcus, it's a skillful deck. Even though people don't play right now, it's another deck that's like really skillful. That's a good comparison. So I'm gonna go down to the replay. I'll be commentating on it and just kind of explain what we were doing. There are a couple plays that both of us made that are really, really huge that you guys are I'm gonna need for you guys to catch, because it's a good learning experience for you. So we're gonna go ahead and hit duel records, and I'm just gonna find PAK. I don't play on Dueling Book that much, but he wanted me to play on Dueling Book against him, and I'm just now getting to this. He uploaded his copy before me, so you guys can definitely see commentary from both of our perspectives. So here's the duel. I'm gonna click fast forward. I'll pause as we go along, just try to explain things, and then I'll pause, and then I'll press fast forward so it can go by fast. So first things first, he won the dice roll, but he made me go first. So he said that he feels it's correct to go second in the SHADDOLL mirror. Now, for me personally, since another thing too, just to really quick to get out the way, our builds are both 60 card builds, and I was really impressed that, because like PAK is like an open-minded person. I respect him as a player. I like that he's not really, I'm not gonna say a sheep, because that's very degrading to say anybody's a sheep. Even if that's your opinion, keep it to yourself at that point. You want to make sure that when you share your opinion, you show respect with it. So he's definitely not like following trends. That's the nicer way to say it, like not to say sheep, because that word's very offensive to people. So he's just not like a guy that's going to follow trends. He definitely knows how to build his own decks with his own text, and I really like that. I think just as players, that's a strength that every player needs to have. There's nothing wrong with using somebody's list. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a different feeling. Like there's no better feeling when you're winning with your own list that you created, and you created the concept, you you had the idea behind it, you built it to do a certain thing, and it did what you built it to do. That's an incredible feeling versus just, hey, can I get a list? You know, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with that because we're all here, you know, people share lists. And again, it's the name of the game. You share knowledge. Just like YouTubers, we're here, we share knowledge, we give insight. The same thing applies with the list. But with him, you know, he has his own way of building decks, and I like that. So when you guys see us play, you will see two completely different takes on SHADDOLLs that are both effective. He plays more of a slow-paced SHADDOLL deck that's trying to like build resources. In the long run, it's grindy. You know, he plays traps. He plays a lot of traps and a lot of hand traps. Me, for my SHADDOLLs, I play them more trying to get my engine set up turn 1 as quickly as possible. So before I get into the duel, I also want to explain, I do have a copy where me and him were talking on Discord. The whole entire of our duel, we were talking to each other. So, you know, like we were calling out plays, saying chain link this, chain link that. Sometimes we didn't declare effect because I was telling him what I was doing. And I explained to him, and he also said that he wanted to try out some of my techs. You know, he was saying he learned from this mirror match that, you know, he wants to change his deck up and try some things. So basically what I was explaining to him is like, PAK, you know, the way you're playing SHADDOLLs is like you have a lot of cards that are in there to stop your opponent. And I wanted to explain to him, so I went further and I said, if you play SHADDOLLs correctly, you're already going to be able to stop your opponent. So rather than incorporating a lot of cards to hurt your opponent that don't help you, because cards like Torrential Tribute, well, like, Dino Mischief might help you if you discard a good SHADDOLL, but cards like Torrential Tribute and, you know, cards like all these hand traps, like, not necessarily like saying don't play any at all, just certain hand traps are more there to stop your opponent than they are to help you. If you start worrying more about helping yourself and less about stopping your opponent, you'll find that when SHADDOLLs already get their engine going, they're going to do exactly what you're doing. So by helping yourself, you are stopping your opponent. So instead of focusing so heavily on stopping your opponent, play a few more starters in your deck to get your engine going. Because with his build, you know, I'm noticing, and it's not a bad thing at all. Everybody has their own way of playing, so it's not a bad thing. With this build, I'm noticing he's trying to stop his opponent a lot more than getting his engine going. I said that because he's not playing a lot of SHADDOLL starters to get his engine rolling. Instead, he's trying to do it on following turns and the next turn, and that's fine. That's just the way to play it, but I did share that with them, explaining once you get your engine going with SHADDOLLs, everything that you would want to do to stop your opponent, you can practically do that just with the SHADDOLL cards themselves. And that's a better way to stop your opponent because you're doing this simultaneously. You're helping yourself and you're stopping your opponent at the same time. Whereas if I use a Nibiru, I can help myself essentially if I'm making a construct, but just in theory, if I use, like, let's just trade it out. If I use Imperm, I can only hurt my opponent, but I can't help myself. But if I turbo into my construct and start summoning cards like Winda, I'm helping myself because I'm giving myself follow-ups, and I'm stopping my opponent from doing what they were trying to do. So I just wanted to share that for anybody playing SHADDOLLs. The way I play it essentially is I'm building my engine. Like turn 1, I'm trying to get to construct as quickly as possible. I'm trying to fusion summon as quickly as possible, because once I start fusion summoning and my engine gets going, it's hard to stop it. It's like Alter Guys, you know, once it gets going, it's really, really hard to keep up. You start looping, getting your follow-ups, you're maintaining your resources, playing mid-range, stretching your cards across the playing field, getting the most out of every card that you can get. That's the way I play SHADDOLLs. So you guys are going to see, we both got W's against each other with completely different mindsets approaching the game. That just shows you that there's more than one way to play SHADDOLLs, but I did want to share you guys my mindset on how I play. So pressing play and pressing fast forward. I started with Mathman. I did Mathman first to try to bait a hand trap, and then I go Banish Juggler, get Trick Clown. I'm going to follow up with Patchwork. You guys saw the opening hands as I was talking about the way I play and just what I shared with him. So I get my +1. I'm going to add Coalition and Trick Clown Hedgehog for construct. I'm going to make Trick Clown Chainlink 3, chain blocking. I'm going to add Windy, Sin, El SHADDOLL Fusion. I'm going to link Construct and Mathman into Cross Sheep, add L. Then I'm going to discard Lunalight Black Sheep for Poly because I play Black Sheep in my deck. And I'm going to basically summon another Construct with the Poly. And I'm going to send Windy to special summon the Aerial, Constructs, and the Trap. The standard combo, basically. Everybody knows this combo. My second Construct, Pause. As you guys can see, he did make me go first. You know, he chose that. So, as you guys can see, I sent another copy of Incarnation. I wanted to explain that because when I play SHADDOLLs, when I go first, my priorities, priority number 1 is no matter what board I set up, get access to El SHADDOLL Fusion, no matter what. That is how you're going to play this deck on your opponent's turn. You have to make sure that you get access to that as quickly as possible. That means that you have to build your deck able to turbo out those cards. You can still play all your different cards, your traps, your hand traps, all that, but you need to make sure that you turbo out your construct as quickly as possible. Use construct to send the cards that you don't have from your deck to your grave, and then get her from the field to the grave to add those cards from your grave to your hand. Effectively, you are literally adding SHADDOLL cards from your deck to your hand without actually searching them. You're dumping them to the grave, adding them from your grave to your hand. So what I do is I try to get access to SHADDOLL Fusion, priority number 1. Priority number 2, as you guys see, I do this. If you guys see me play SHADDOLLs, it never changes. I always do this. Get Incarnation in the beginning of the duel. This card may seem like a mid to late game card because it's a Monster Reborn, but it's not. This is a card you want to play with your deck with for the entire of the duel. From start to finish, you're using Incarnation. So this is why you want to play multiples, because now you're just going to loop Incarnation off your fusions. Why is it important to get Incarnation? So now when you summon your turn 1 Winda, you have SHADDOLL Fusion to summon a second Winda if they out it with Forbidden Droplets, or if they imperm, or if they Kaiju it, or if they summon Block Dragon and attack over it, if they Jaguar with Spinny. There's ways to out Winda, it's not impossible. If they out the first Winda, you summon the second one with SHADDOLL Fusion. If they out the second Winda, which is not likely, you summon the third with Incarnation if you need to. That's only if you need to. What Incarnation is for you, even though Winda's already a follow-up, because when she dies she gets a spell or trap. Incarnation is a follow-up in the sense that it summons Construct. Construct then sends any SHADDOLL cards you want for your next turn. And then another priority you want to do is make sure on your turn 1, if you can. I didn't do it because I knew it was a mirror match, but typically you want to summon the Construct Link 2. Why do you want to do that? The reason being is because once the Link 2 is there, whenever you summon this on the follow-up plays in your in-phase off Incarnation, you will use that Link 2 to send her from the field to the grave. So what you can do also, this is a replay, but I'm also going to teach you guys how to play SHADDOLLs. So what you can do also is you'll use Construct to send OG SHADDOLL Fusion from your deck to your grave. Now on your following turn, you'll use the Link 2 to send her from the field to the grave at that SHADDOLL Fusion that you sent off her effect. Now you have access to SHADDOLL Fusion even though you didn't open it. So just by activating Poly, you can get access to all of your engine. So I'm explaining my turn and also telling you guys my mindset when I play this deck. So you guys see I'm getting Incarnation now. I know this is a mirror match and Dweller Winda's already, pretty much almost going to be game, but just in case, I'm not going to be overconfident and think that I just won the duel because I summoned Dweller Winda. I'm going to give myself a follow-up to make sure, no matter what, even if he breaks my board, I can still play, which is smart. So fast forwarding, I leak off into Lambda, I get my Incarnation. I SHADDOLL Fusion into Winda because I want him to be able to have to out Winda 3 times. And I chain block, I use Frifer, the Edge chain to get Patchwork, and I use Construct to get the SHADDOLL Fusion that I fuse with. Then I set. So now he has to out Winda 3 times if Winda cripples him. I Dweller him, he sets 3 backups, and Squamata, he passes in phase. I summon Construct of Incarnation Sin Dragon. I pop his Torrential, which was a really good snipe. On my following turn, I follow up with Patchwork. That's what I like about Patchwork is the self-replacing engine, and it's a follow-up for your next turn. So I burn through all 3 polys. I go battle phase, attack into Squamata. Squamata pops Dweller. I attack with Winda. I attack with Construct, putting him at 3k. I activate L. He chains Dino, which is really, really smart. Pause. So he dinos to banish Construct. What does that do? It means I can't get SHADDOLL Fusion back unless I fuse with Winda. So it puts me in a situation where I either just get rid of the SHADDOLL Fusion, find another way to get it back, or get rid of the Winda. Obviously, the Winda has to stay because I don't want to work to summon another one. I want this Winda to do her job, and when I'm done with her, then I'll get rid of her. But right now, she's still being used right now. So, dang, that sounds wrong to say I'm using Winda. I'm not using you like that, girl. Lambda and Ariel, we're going to be fusing with those 2 to summon another Construct. He chained to L. He chained Dino to banish. He discarded another Squamata, which was unfortunate because you can only use one effective Squamata. He did take care of my Construct, but then going to press play. And I summon a second Construct in battle phase. I'm going to fast forward again. Just because it's a 2-hour-long duel. If I don't fast forward, you guys are probably not going to have the patience or the attention span for this. So what he ends up doing is he activates Res to special summon his Squamata, which was smart so he can keep playing. He tries to chain Dino. We just reminded him, I reminded him, he also remembered that he's under Winda and that was his one special. So I summon another Construct. One thing I forgot to do was use construct to declare an attack on schemata. I'm pretty sure I forgot to do that. I think I just used construct. I think that I actually sent. Yeah, that's what I misclicked. So I'm gonna press play. I misclicked. I clicked add to hand. I meant to send from deck to grave. So you guys are gonna see. Fast forward. I sent core because I meant to send it from deck to hand. I misclicked and added from deck to I meant to send it from deck to grave. I misclicked add it from deck to hand instead of it from deck to grave. Pause. So then he follows with Mathman. Normal Mathman, Dump Dragon. He's going to use the Graveyard Effect of Incarnation to flip the dragon that he specialed off the Windy that he on Mathman, this is really smart. So what PAK is doing is he's outing my Winda without sending her to the grave, which means all my follow-ups right now are still there. I still have core and El Shaddol Fusion in the grave, so I have to get access to those. In the mirror match, be careful. Be careful of leaving cards like these in your graveyard, because if your opponent plays more than one aerial, they can punish you by banishing these. And because core is typically a one-of, and until you find access to another El Shaddol Fusion, that can really put you behind. It might not cause you to lose, but it can put you behind where the game ends up taking longer than it should. So be careful of leaving those in the grave. Pressing play and then fast forward. So he's going to out my Winda by bouncing it, which takes her out of the game. And then, for right now, then he summons Verde, pays 2k, sends SHADDOLL Fusion, summons Construct, sending damage Juggler, and I think he sends Beast, and he draws the SHADDOLL Fusion off the Beast, which is a really good draw. And then he's going to use Construct to send L. He's going to attack Construct to Construct. So I'm telling you guys right now, Construct is mandatory. It says right here, if this card battles a special summon monster at the start of the damage step, destroy it. Now, who dies first is depending on who attacks, whose turn it is, and who's declaring an attack. But that doesn't mean that Construct doesn't kill Construct. They both kill each other. One just dies before the other because, you know, he basically, being his turn, he's going to get to be able to use his Construct. It's like a weird way to explain, but one dies before the other, but they both die because they both did battle each other, and Construct is mandatory. It has to happen. So Construct dies, and both of our Constructs are going to add. I add El Shaddol Fusion. He's going to add his El Shaddol Fusion. Ironic that we both add the same card. Pressing play, fast forward, and if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to activate Red. Oh yeah, so this is my play where I feel like I'm going to go aggressive. So this is where, again, I explain my profiles why Ariel is so good. So I summon Ariel off Incarnation. Why did I do that? Because I know I have a Construct banish. So by summoning this face down on my end phase, on his end phase, I can flip it on my turn, activate its effect to target the SHADDOLL Construct, El Shaddol Construct, because, you know, he basically targets one of your banished Shaddolls. Target her to special her in defense. That can prompt. He did smart. He remembered that I added L off from on my construct. Remember, we both added L off our constructs. The mirror matches are really fun too, but it's patience. A lot of patience, a lot of planning ahead, a lot of prioritizing your engine and making sure that you give yourself follow-ups, because in the SHADDOLL mirror match, it's very, very hard to go for an OTK. It's really hard. If you're playing a good SHADDOLL mirror match with both players know what they're doing, it's not going to be easy for either one of you. So prioritize your follow-ups. So this could prompt L, but he did it smart, because if he activates his L to summon Winda, which he doesn't have a choice, because look at Anaconda's attack and look at his life points. He has to summon Winda just to protect himself. I can then chain L. Now, what happens is if I chain L, I use Falco and Ariel to summon Op Cologne, separate chain Op Cologne, negate his Winda, and I can basically special summon one more time if I wanted to. That's only if I wanted to. So he played it smart. Again, PAK's not a bad player. He's a good player. So he played it smart. He didn't activate L until it was mandatory, necessary. So I summoned Construct. I misclicked again. I meant to send Hedgehog from deck to grave. Instead, I added it to my hand. Just a misclick. Then I add Kumada off Hedgehog. And then I'm going to normal Falco, go into the link to Construct, declare effect. I'm trying to get him to pause. I'm trying to get him to activate his L, but he's just too smart. He's not going to do it. So then I summon Op Cologne. Now I'm confident that I can go for game, basically without being flashy. First, my mindset was, ooh, I can summon access code, and that's game no matter what. That's a bit too flashy, and as you see, he has a Nibiru in his hand. Did I know he had a Nibiru? No. But are you supposed to play as if your opponent has a Nibiru? Yes, you are. Even if, like, for example, he only had one card in his hand, then he drew one off Beast. Most people would think, oh, he doesn't have a Nibiru, what are the odds? You just got to be safe just in case, especially in a mirror match like this where one card can change the entire outcome of the game. So pressing play, you guys are going to see, fast forward, I summon Op Cologne, I use Construct, I send SHADDOLL Fusion, and then I use my my Link 2 Construct, send her from field to grave, summon her and add the SHADDOLL Fusion. So now I can really, for sure, play in my comfort zone, make sure I don't lose to Nibiru, have my follow-up, because if he summons Wunda and I can't kill him, because if he summons Wunda, he can't Nibiru me now, and I can't kill him, I just follow up with SHADDOLL Fusion after that, and I still have L, so my L is going to change to his L, so I'm in a dominant position right now. So I activate Poly, fast forward, I'm just going to click fast forward, and I summon Wunda, pause. What I did here, you guys count my summons. Wunda was the 5th summon. If you guys can go back and rewind and look at this replay, my 5th summon was Wunda. I'm playing into Nibiru territory. Do you think that I'm not going to summon Wunda as my 5th summon? You don't have a choice. If you're playing smart, if you're playing careful, not everybody's going to do that, because some people can just assume, oh, he doesn't have it. It's a 60 card deck. What are the odds of him having it? You guys, what are the odds of your opponent drawing any card that's at 3? The odds are pretty high no matter what number of cards they play in their deck. So you got to be careful. So I summoned Wunda. He didn't chain L to my Poly. I think it's because he didn't expect for me to summon Wunda. Maybe he thought I was going to summon another construct. Let me see if I even have another one to summon. No, I couldn't summon another one. So maybe he just thought I was going to summon something different, but he did not chain L to Poly. Instead, on resolution of Poly, he activated L. That was one thing that could be a misplay. The reason being is because if you chain L to Poly, now when Wunda comes out, you still get one more special summon. But because he activated L after Poly resolved, and my Wunda's up face up first, now his Wunda that comes out is going to be his only special summon that he gets for the turn. That makes a difference, because also in a SHADDOLL mirror match, you can stop your opponent from ulti-K'ing you by sending Windy to special summon Falco to special summon Ariel to special summon any banished SHADDOLL, and then you block from all those attacks. But because he can't do that because of my Wunda, all he can do is put up his Wunda, so this is actually going to be game. So fast forwarding, he summons his Wunda, he tries to send Wunda, I remind him that my Wunda was up, and then he activated L, and then, you know, we agreed on that. He shows me he has Nibiru SHADDOLL Fusion, that's going to be game 1. So keep in mind, it's not like he really did a lot of things wrong. It's not about, oh, who's correct and who's not correct. Because when we played each other, this is for fun. We're not trying super hard to beat each other, but also we're not just going to throw the game just because it's funsies and not play cautiously. So I played cautiously, he played cautiously. So there's, like, again, this is a really good learning experience for SHADDOLL mirror matches. So the only thing that could have changed the outcome would be chaining L to the Poly. That would have changed it, you know. But again, this is more for us just having fun. You know, we're friends in real life, so we're not really trying hard to beat each other. We're not like, oh, you're scrub, this, that, and the third. We're learning from each other at the same time, you know, while we're playing. So pressing play, I'm siding. I'm just gonna fast forward, and so now we're going to game 2. Game 2 definitely went in his favor. As you guys see, I drew 1 star and a kaiju. I sided in the kaiju in case he tries to Wunda me on my turn. He does summon Wunda. So he's gonna send Windy to special beast, use Squamata to send res, and then he's gonna try to link into gravity controller to use the Wunda to basically wait a minute. Oh, my bad. He took SHADDOLL Fusion instead, I think. Or did he? No, I'm tripping. I'm trying to remember what he sent off Squamata. Oh, no. He did send res because he's trying to flip his to draw 2 and then discard 1. Maybe he's trying to draw into his side deck cards. I just reminded him real quick. Again, it's not that big of a deal. Just reminded him that he already special summoned while his Wunda was face up, so he couldn't link her in a gravity controller. It's not that big of a deal, you know. It doesn't change it's not an irreversible game state. That's what I'll say. So pressing play and then fast forward. And so he's going to flip his beast, draw 2. He's going to, oh, wait. We go back. That's right, because we corrected the game state. I let him know you can't make gravity controller. So, you know, he puts his stuff, I think he shuffled. Okay, so I don't think the reason being is because the cards he was going to draw were not going to change. The only thing that's different is he can't make gravity controller. So he actually was supposed to draw Nibiru in Sinister Shadow games, but he put those back and shuffled his deck. So he could have kept the cards that he drew off Beast, that's correct, because the outcome of what he draws is not dictated by whether Winda can be linked off or not. All that does is affect Winda being able to add Shaddol Fusion from graveyard to hand. So he was supposed to actually draw Nibiru Sinister Shaddol games. That was supposed to happen, but instead he draws Falco and another Squamata. It's not that big of a deal, you know, but either way, he ended up having, you know, this. So just a couple misplays, but it's not that big of a deal. It's a learning experience. I go normal math man. I meant to Sin Hedgehog. I keep misclicking, you guys. Sin Hedgehog adds Squamata. So now I have access to my own Winda. I crash the math man in the Winda. I draw an El Shaddol Fusion. Then main phase 2. I forgot to click main phase 2. I'm not doing this in battle phase. I just forgot to. I don't play on Dueling Book that much. Sometimes I forget. You gotta click these. So press and play. Main phase 2, I basically fuse with Black Sheep. That's why I love Black Sheep and the Frightfur engine, because they either search poly or their fusion attributes. As you see, I didn't have any other way to summon Winda. So I use Squamata, and what I'm gonna do here, because I'm low resources, I use Squamata to do this. I send Shaddol Fusion from deck to grave off Squamata, so that way if he doesn't out Winda, I should have put her in the main monster zone too to play around Gravity Controller, because I saw him out his summon, so I know he plays it. So that's a misplay on my behalf, you guys see? So we both making mistakes, you know? My mistake, I didn't put Winda in the main monster zone to play around Gravity Controller, so that way he has to use Nightmare Unicorn if he doesn't want to give me Shaddol Fusion. So what I did was I basically forced him to play around Winda in a way where he still only gets one special summon, but also he has to get rid of her without sending her to the grave. Otherwise, I get Shaddol Fusion deal in the mirror match. And then, as you see, I have Rez, Shaddol Core, and L as my back rows. These are the 3 best back rows in this deck. These are the ones I prioritize my turn 1 as getting these as quickly as possible. This is, if I could, every single duel, no matter what board I make, I would have these as my back row, because I can do anything as far as Shaddolls go with these 3 back rows. Suppressing play, fast forward, he's going to Gravity Controller, bounce Winda, and the Gravity Controller, and then he's going to attack with Squamata. I'm going to chain Res, summon my Squamata on Resolution. I'm going to summon Core and activate L. So here is a misplay on me. Not a misplay, but just an assumption. I, for some reason, thought this face down monster right here was a level 4. And as you see, he doesn't play Dweller, but I thought that he does. So the reason why I did the play I did, I Naga, because I did not want him to Dweller me main phase 2. It was like a hindsight play. I'm like, I have Gamma Seal for Winda, but I don't want to lose to Dweller. So I'm going to get a Shaddol card in my hand off of this play so Shiki can actually use her effect. But I basically don't want him to main phase 2 Dweller me. So I summon Sheki so that way if he tries to activate Dweller, I can negate it with Sheki. It's open for a reason because it's hot. Alright, my love. So I'm basically trying to use Sheki to negate the Dweller, but I didn't know that I actually, this sounds funny to say, I didn't know that I actually did not know the face down. I for some reason thought it was a Squamata that like got brought back off of something. I wasn't paying too much attention to what he was doing. So fast forwarding, pressing play, like I said, I summoned Sheki, I grabbed Shaddol Fusion, and then because I used Core, I summoned with Core, I summoned Falco. I use Winda to summon Falco. Falco's effect is going to... Wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's what it is. You guys are going to wonder why El Shaddol Fusion ended up doing that. So we fast forwarded because I told him what I'm going to do because I added El Shaddol Fusion from my deck to my hand. We fast forwarded, skipped the step because I told him if you attack into Falco, I'm going to special summon Hedgehog face down. So instead of me actually specialing Hedgehog, we just skipped the step and we just made him attack the Hedgehog. And I said I'm going to use Hedgehog effect just in case you guys get confused in that. So this is a Hedgehog that's in my grave. So I basically just went Windy, Falco, Falco, Hedgehog. Hedgehog had L when he attacked into it. So now I have 2 Shaddol cards for Sheki. Main phase 2 play, he's going to summon Obcolone, if I'm not mistaken. Fast forward, and he's going to chain block and negate Sheki. Yeah, he definitely is. And also, he's not only killing Sheki, look at what's in my grave. He got Core, he got Reds, he got L. He took those out of the game with Aerial. That's what I was trying to explain to you guys. Be careful about leaving these. If you can get them, try and get them. You know, don't leave them in your grave in the mirror match because you'll get punished with Aerial, and that takes now you can't add those off your fusions. And he's comboing off now. He's going to go Hulk into Falco. I guess he just assumed I don't play Nibiru. So he's just comboing off right now. And that's true. I don't play Nibiru. I really don't. But I don't think he knew that. So he's going to use the link construct to summon a construct. I'm glad he puts the link because whether you're playing pure or not, you gotta play this card. It's insane. Then he's gonna fusion again. He's gonna use this effect, bring it back. Then he's going to link the construct. I'm trying to exit out. He's gonna link the construct and the Valkyrie Fibrax into Unicorn. Chain blocking my Sheki is negated by Aqualone. He's gonna discard, shuffle the Sheki Naga. He's gonna draw a card. I'm just fast forwarding this. Pause. Then he's gonna set. He's gonna activate El SHADDOLL Fusion. So this is like a huge misplay. Like the other misplay set was like cool, you know. We're just learning from each other. Again, it's not calling anybody out. It's not being mean. But this is like a really big misplay because he used El SHADDOLL Fusion to use Construct and Unicorn to summon Construct, which was like not actually possible. And as you guys can see, it doesn't change that much, but just be mindful of these things. Like in real life, this makes a huge difference. But again, we're just playing each other for fun. You know, I didn't call him on that one. You know, I called him on a couple other ones, but I actually didn't call him on that one. My brain was just so focused on what I'm gonna do right now with just this SHADDOLL Fusion, because that's all I have to play, that I really neglected to remind him, hey man, you need a SHADDOLL in the light, not a SHADDOLL in the dark, you know, to summon Construct. So he summons Construct off of L using Unicorn and the link. He used Construct to send Hedgehog, and then he uses the Hedgehog. No, he doesn't use the Hedgehog, which was strange. So what he's going to do now, which is actually pretty smart, I activate SHADDOLL Fusion. He's going to use Incarnation to flip Construct face down so he no longer controls the monster on the resolution of the card. So the way I believe this to happen was, so at first I thought, oh, you know what? I already activated it while you control an extra deck monster, so now I can use the materials for my deck, because when I activated it, you had an extra deck monster. But I just went with it and I was like, you know what? I'm not sure on this, so I'm just gonna believe your ruling. So he's gonna use Incarnation, put Construct face down, causing my SHADDOLL Fusion to fizzle, because as you guys see, it would force it to resolve naturally if I had materials, but I don't. I remind him, I tell him I don't have it. You know, I ended up showing him my hand because he definitely got game on this one. But that is something I'm pretty sure he's correct. I'm just not 100% certain. You know, I think of it as like, let's say like I have an effect that says target a card on the field for cost, and or let's just say like an effect that says return something from the field to the hand for cost, and if you do, you know, whoop-de-whoop. Basically, it's like when you've already been able to fulfill the text, you should be able to resolve the card. But I'm not sure, you know, my mindset when I was talking to him, I was like, so what I did, I put the SHADDOLL Fusion back. I was like, wait. Let me think about this. You had an extra deck monster when I activated it, so I should be able to resolve it, summoning for the extra deck. But then I was like, you know what, you're right. Maybe you're right, you know, so fast forward, he got game 2. I show him my hand just to prove to him that I couldn't resolve SHADDOLL Fusion. He knows, you know, I'm not tricking him. See, I put it back just to, again, talk to him about that. So going into game 3, press play. There we go, and fast forward. So I'm going to be things I need to be explained. My opening hand was Allure, Damage Juggler, Edge of Chain, and Beast. So the Allure got me to both Patchwork and a Pointer of the Red Lotus. That Allure saved my hand. His hand, he has a way to summon Winda, and he has 2 Shadow Games. This card is not once per turn, so having 2 is actually really good. Now, in the mirror match, it's even better, because like it can actually just switch the tide of the duel in your favor. So like 2 Shadow Games being in his hand is like huge. And because I can't play aggressively all the time, because I have to be careful, be conservative, not playing in Nibiru unless I have Winda up, I won't be able to OTK him all the time. So just because he's drawing traps going second doesn't mean he won't be able to use them. So press and play, I go Patchwork and Poly and Chain. So the next I'm going to do, I'm just going to fast forward. I'm going to activate Poly, send Damage Juggler, summon Construct. I'm going to full combo again. So you guys are going to see I sent El SHADDOLL Fusion. I had Trickline off Juggler. I'm going to then normal summon Edge of Chain, link in the cross sheet. Edge of Chain's going to grab Patchwork. Construct's going to grab L. And then I'm just going to activate it, summon another Construct using Squamatus and Windy, send Incarnation. This is the combo. And I'm going to summon another Dweller again. The ending board that I have, game 3, is practically the same one as game 1. It's the same, and I summon Lambda so it looks like I have a Gamma in hand. And plus, I need to be able to link off that construct. I didn't summon Appaloosa The reason being, you guys know how I am with my SHADDOLLs. If you guys follow me, I like to leave cross sheep on the field. I just love to do this because you get more resources out of it that way. Like I said when I was talking about stretching your cards and basically in simple, sweet, and short is, and as you guys see, I sent Incarnation, grabbed it. Like I told you guys, I prioritize getting both these. Simple, sweet, and short. Get the most you can get out of every card before you get rid of it. That's it. So I only use cross sheet one time. Before I link it off in Appaloosa, I would like to use it one more time. So pressing play, I'm going to set a pointer, L, and Incarnation. I'm going to activate a pointer, show him my hand. I see he has 2 Shadow Games. I'd elect to take one. He changed L SHADDOLL Fusion. Pause. I do not chain my L SHADDOLL Fusion to that. I'm very, very confident that whatever he summons I can contend with. And also keep in mind he summons a window. So now, so like, if he summoned Construct and then use her effect to send Windy, then I'll chain L, which forces him to basically keep his Construct. Then he has to go to battle phase. He'll out my window, and then he basically, that's all he can do. So like, I hold my L. I'm just like really, really frugal with the L. You guys could just argue and say chain L to L right away. I already have him under Dweller. I already appointed him. I have res. I'm trying to be a little bit patient with my L. I'm trying to see what I can get out of it. You know, basically get the most impact. He uses Armageddon Knight and dang, he used Armageddon Knight and Falco. I feel like you should use Falco and Hedgehog to summon the window, and then you normal summon the Armageddon Knight and use his effect, and then you dump Squamata, use Squamata's effect to send SHADDOLL Fusion. This is just me, not saying like I'm trying to say he's playing his deck incorrectly, but what I would do if I was him is I would use the Falco instead. Don't use his effect to special, obviously. Normal Armageddon. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm under Dweller. Never mind. I put him under Dweller. But I'm just thinking like a play that I would have in mind is normal Armageddon Knight, dump Squamata, send SHADDOLL Fusion, the normal spell, then basically link the SHADDOLL window into like Gravity Controller, or link him and her into another link, then at the OG. That's a play he could make if he wasn't under Dweller, but still, even so, I do believe it is correct to hold Armageddon Knight in your hand and just use the Falco and the Hedgehog, especially since you're probably not going to be able to special summon again. You might as well have just sent the Falco. Keep the Armageddon Knight. You have 2 follow-ups now. You have Sinister Shadow Games and also Armageddon Knight. So pressing play, fast forward. He's then going to go into Hulky Firebrax with his Falco. So now I see why he held Falco in his hand, because he wanted to go into Hulk. But this is the thing, he knows I have L, because he saw me playing with it on my turn. He saw me grab it from grave to hand. He saw me activate it. So he knows I have L. So what I feel like he should have done is just keep his window on the field. Just keep it on the field. Keep one on the field. Literally force me to waste my battle phase to kill your window, so that way at least you don't get OTK'd and you can still use your Shadow Games, and you'll basically have Armageddon Knight as a follow-up. So it might not mean you get to win the game, but it means you could stay in longer and hopefully top deck into a better card. But he went to Hulk, then I chained L to its effect, and I also chained my res, so that my res resolves first. So I get that special summon, then L resolve, so I get one more special summon after that, so I can still do whatever I want. So that means, in theory, I could use Construct to send like Windy or anything like that. So he admitted defeat. It was still a good game. Nonetheless, you know, we were talking on our on his Discord. I joined his Discord to talk to him. You know, he's a really, really nice guy. He's a good player. Never said he wasn't. And honestly, I learned from this duel just like he did. What I learned from this duel, honestly, is that I really, really, really need to. He definitely inspired me to play Shadow Games. So he wanted to try some of my techs. I wanted to try his. Because I also asked him, because I haven't played with Shadow Games in such a long time. I was like, I just want to make sure on the ruling, do you actually have to have a face down SHADDOLL monster to activate it? And he said no. So I was like, dude, this card's literally Squamata then. So I definitely want to experiment with Shadow Games. Because this card's really, really strong. Like, back in the day, 2014 format, when you would resolve this, it would be like, I just took control of the game because I resolved this. Especially when you had like a face down Hedgehog, you flip it and then just add SHADDOLL Fusion, send like Dragon, pop a back row. It's just crazy. But nonetheless, this was a good duel. We both showed good sportsmanship to each other. We weren't like all, you know, try hard, like I have to win. It's just, you know, it's friendly. So that's the duel, you guys. Hopefully you guys learned. Hopefully, guys, this was informative for you. And I'm going to be heading out, so I'm going to say a quick prayer, and then we'll be out of here, you guys. If you guys want more replays like this against good players like PAK and other players, definitely let me know. I play in luxury gaming, so I can show you guys some of my replays on Dueling Book against top-tier competitive players. pro players like Kamal Crooks, pro players like Hani Jawari that I've played against. That I only played Kamal once and I lost him, but I played Hani twice. I beat him once, he beat me once. And then I've played PAK like I think like twice. I think. Oh yeah, and I've played like David Flores a couple times. I think right now I'm up on him. I should have more wins than he has. But like you guys definitely, if you guys want to see more duels like that against like pro players, because that's really a better duel to watch because it's like now it's more, for you guys get to see like competitive play. You guys get to see how players play their deck effectively. Like because there's a difference. It's not saying like oh, only pro players can play a deck good. It's just like pro players are called pro players for a reason. And you never want to call yourself a pro player. Somebody has to call you that. So somebody like literally has to say that about you. It's almost like you can't say I'm humble. You can't do that because that's not humble to say that. So like when you're considered a pro, it's not because you consider yourself pro because that's just really egotistical. It's when somebody else calls you a pro. That's when you're acknowledged as a pro in the game, and that's pretty much when you become a pro, when you get acknowledged for your accomplishments and your achievements in the game. But our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Jesus, thy kingdom come. Bless you, Lord, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors, Jesus. And lead us not into temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Thank you, Lord. Amen. All right, you guys, I'm going to upload this tonight. It's midnight right now, so if you guys don't see it tonight, check it out tomorrow. Peace out, yo.